Hey everyone, so this is part 2 of our hip series called Are Your Hips Healthy? If you haven't watched part 1, it's all about range of motion requirements. And today we're going to be breaking down some stability requirements that will give you a sign if your hips are healthy or not. So we're going to break down about 3 to 4 tests to give you an idea if you need to start working on it or if you're in a pretty good position. The first one is probably the most simple. It's called the Trendelenburg's test or the single leg stance. So we're on one foot, make sure your knee is nice and soft, and we're gonna hold the stance. Now typically I like my clients to be able to hold this for a solid minute, no problem. But if you're getting to about 20 to 30 seconds, that's really good as well. A couple of obvious signs if you're not able to do this, you're gonna keep on falling over and resetting. But the not so obvious is when your hips start to hike up a little bit or they start to sink a little bit. These are compensation patterns. And this is a sign that either there's core instability or hip instability. A lot of the times the ankle gets the blame, but that's not the case in most cases. If you think about it, if we're very stable up top, the ankle pretty much has to do no work. But if we're unstable, whether it's in the core or in the hip, there's a lot of movement up here, which puts more demand on the ankle, and we're gonna keep on falling over. Second, another simple test. This is called the step down test. So you're going to get to a surface that's about 6 inches high, toes to the edge, and we're going to just simply drop down to your foot and come right back up. And we're just monitoring if the hip, knee, and ankle are in nice alignment. If there's typically instability in the glutes or the hips, we're going to have this heavy cave in of that standing knee. And over time, this is going to create knee problems. So if you're somebody that has problems or pain going up or down stairs, this is also a good test to see if you have proper stability to handle that movement. 2 more tests that are very similar is our squat test and our inline lunge test. So it's looking at the same alignment. So we're going to get feet shoulder width apart, looking at our squatting pattern, making sure that there's no dysfunction or compensation patterns going on. We typically want the middle of the kneecap in line with the middle of the foot. And same thing with that inline lunge test. We're just going to go up and down for a few reps, monitoring that alignment, seeing if they're, wobbling all over the place or if they can handle that controlled movement. And one more that you can take a look at is the single leg glute bridge hold. So if you lay on your back, you're going to raise the waist up, and from here we'll pick a leg up, straighten the knee, and just see if you can hold this position for, again, about 15-30 seconds. A compensation pattern is where that opposite hip tends to dip or drag down. That means the glute's not able to fire and do its job. So these are some examples to see if you have proper hip stability. And if you have proper hip stability, you're going to have what's called great joint centration. And that's just where the ball can be dead center in the socket to allow for smooth access of rotation. So if you take a look at the whole picture now, if you have proper range of motion with our first video, and if you have proper stability, for the most part, you're not going to have any pain, you're not going to have any dysfunction or compensation patterns. But if you have a lack of one of the two or both, you better be careful, because this is a sign that with time, there may be some pain coming on or some dysfunction occurring at the same time. So if you guys need any help or treatments, make sure to reach out to us, and we'll see you on the next one.